regular season for the first time in 33 years. The team that occupies the top spot right now is Maryland. The Terps have Virginia on Saturday, but first they have to deal with Duke without their head coach. Mike Patrick brings you the game at the top of the hour.
Linda, the big news for Maryland tonight is the absence of Gary Williams. The Terps head coach has been hospitalized for pneumonia following a tough bout with the flu. He is reported to be resting comfortably in Washington Adventist Hospital and should be out for the weekend. That means that six-year assistant Billy Hahn will be in charge tonight, and he says it'll be business as usual.
I think everybody has to be themselves, and you got to get a feel. You know, I'm not Gary Williams, so I'm not going to try to be Gary Williams. I've got two guys on the bench with me, Art Perry and Jim Patsos, who are going to help me a lot. So I'll play it by ear. Fortunately, I had 3 years on the sideline one other time in my life, so we'll see what happens.
And that was at Ohio University. Dan Bonner joins me now. And Dan, will Gary Williams' absence be a big factor for this team at a critical point in the year?
Mike, I don't know that it'll be a big factor. It will be a factor, though. You know, if anybody could do it, heck, announcers might be able to coach these teams. So Gary Williams' absence, I think, will be a factor. But fortunately for Maryland, they have an experienced team. They've got good kids. And as Billy Hahn said, they have a pretty good coaching staff.
Earlier today, Billy Hahn was talking to his players at practice about tonight's game. This is a Maryland team with its destiny in its own hands, and they'll go tonight against Duke. Back to you, Linda. In a conference long dominated by players on the perimeter, this season it has been the man in the middle. Joe Smith has crashed more than one party. And Cherokee Parks has carried the Duke Blue Devils all season on his broad shoulders. This is Cameron Indoor Stadium, the home of Duke basketball, and where the Blue Devils will face the Maryland Terrapins. Assistant coach Billy Hahn is in the spotlight tonight, substituting for Maryland's Gary Williams, who is hospitalized with pneumonia. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick and Dan Bonner. It's great to have you with us. Billy Hahn taking over the reins of Maryland tonight, trying to continue a one-game winning streak after they broke Duke's 15-game win streak in the first game, and it wasn't all Joe Smith when they beat Duke.
Mike, the scary thing about this Maryland ball club is they don't have to be all Joe Smith. They're a very balanced squad. In the last game, it was Exree Hipp and Keith Booth who really stepped up. When Maryland gets balanced, they can be dangerous.
It's Duke against first-place Maryland coming up. But first, let's go back to Chris Fowler and Digger Phelps.
All right, Mike, thank you. Here in Hoops headquarters, it'll be a busy evening. Their tailspin heading into the NCAA tournament. Digger Phelps joins me. Gary Williams, yet another coaching casualty. So Billy Hahn against Pete Gaudette, battle of the first lieutenants.
I like that. Hoop headquarters. Really, we're on target tonight. Gary Williams will be missed more by Maryland because it's the first experience. Gary's a master of psych on the road with the sidelines, with the players. This is what Billy Hahn can't bring to the table. Duke's made the adjustment, so look for Duke to play very well tonight.
Yes, sight could be a factor. Chiefs' last stand, the final home game for Cherokee Parks. They will need that emotion against a very good Maryland team. We'll see at halftime. Tip-off just ahead.
ESPN's NCAA Basketball, brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold. By Dodge. The more things change, the more things look like the new Dodge. And by Kelly Springfield, America's oldest tire company.
Entire ACC in steals, nearly 3 a game. For Duke, under acting head coach Pete Gaudette, Cherokee Parks has been brilliant this year, number 3 in the conference in both scoring and rebounding. Joe Smith, candidate for National Player of the Year after he was National Freshman of the Year. And facing Maryland mentioned tonight, Billy Hahn, the acting head coach, is Gary Williams hospitalized with pneumonia. Our best wishes go out to him. He's reported resting comfortably and should be out of who will be tending him during his stay at Washington Adventist. I'm sure Gary will be the first to wish him the same thing. Smith and Parks to jump center on senior night.
Maryland starts in the man-to-man.
Kenny Blakeney tried to pass it inside to Meek, swatted away.
Now, Mike, if Maryland has a defensive weakness, it's that they often don't guard the dribble out on the perimeter very effectively. That time, penetration very nearly resulted in a basket. Good defense by Joe Smith on the help out.
Parks gets his first one. The number 17 all-time scorer in Duke basketball history gets off the mark in a hurry.
And if he can score from that spot on the court, Mike, it could be a long night for Maryland. Those are body punches. They can just knock the breath out of you.
The lob to hip. Nice pass from Dwayne Simpkins.
We mentioned X-Ray Hip in the first game, had 21 points, hit 5 3-pointers, and it seems like every game he flies through the lane and makes one like that. Keith Booth matched up against Cherokee Park.
Langdon will try the three and drained it. Duke off to a good offensive start. Simpkins quickly back the other way. Smith got the roll.
That 6'10" a player gliding in there, Mike, switching to the left hand.
Well, I don't have a vote, but if I did, he's my National Player of the Year. He is so terrific. Cherokee for three. Too strong. Simpkins with a long rebound. Simpkins, the pull-up jumper. Maryland takes the lead 6-5.
Mike, a great decision by Simpkins to not try to pitch the ball ahead to Booth. It would have been a great, great pass, but instead he made the easy play.
Meek gives Langdon the screen and rolls. He was open momentarily, but Langdon did not get him the ball. The lob to Meek, double team. Tipped it in. That is the essence of Eric Meek. He just battles. Quickly back the other way. Blocked by Meek, or the basket went in, excuse me.
Maryland can hit so quickly, and they did that time. Rhodes leaking out. That time Simpkins did make the pass.
8-7 Maryland. Had one missed shot in the game. Kenny Blakeney with a run. He fights for the rebound. And out of bounds to the Blue Devils.
Mike, there's that penetration against the Maryland defense. Sometimes you think, well, Joe Smith's back there. I can play my guy tougher, but Billy Hahn knows that that defense has to stay in front, that they cannot allow penetration or they could be in trouble.
Nice pass to Meek, and he's fouled. And it's Joe Smith's first.
One of the best ways to defend Joe Smith is to attack him when he is on defense. Meek, just with great position, Smith didn't have time to use his quickness to get around.
Without Eric Meek.
He just played so well in the preseason that they decided there was no way he could redshirt. And as a young man who's had an opportunity and in very difficult circumstances has continued to work very hard and has had just an outstanding year.
Gets 40% of his rebounds off the offensive glass. Smith down low. Nice pass to Booth. Lost it on the way up. Smith. Parks got a piece of that one. Smith again. Too strong. Smith again. Basket counts and he's fouled.
Mike, after the first 15, that number 16 usually goes in a little easier. One One of Maryland's problems, Mike, is that they tend to be a little smallish, but right here you can see they just keep bouncing up after the basketball. Great hands in there. Joe Smith got 2 shots blocked, but he and Keith Booth kept battling and finally scored.
Smith hits the free throw, and Maryland takes an 11-8 lead. Here's full court pressure. Nice pass to break the press, and Langdon with a pull-up jumper. Bricks it off the glass. Meek with a follow.
It's 2 baskets that Duke has now scored on Meek offensive rebounds.
No rest as Simpkins just pushes it right back up. Crowd chants defense with 16:32 to go first half. Good ball movement by Maryland. The wide open jump shot for Simpkins.
Perfect cut by Simpkins. That's what happens when you try to defend Joe Smith. Somebody's going to be open, and Dwayne Simpkins moved into position and hit the jump shot.
When Maryland is hitting on all cylinders, I can't think of a team that's better. Langdon, tough angle, and made it.
Mike, if you look at this Maryland team, sometimes they tend to make bad decisions to force things on offense. Sometimes their defense isn't as strong as the coaching staff would like it to be, and they are a little smallish along the front line, but they've got a lot of weapons to make up for those weaknesses.
Rhodes to Booth. Parks got a piece of that one, too.
Boy, Parks is everywhere inside.
He wants to make senior night something special. There's the 3 from Kenny Blakeney, another senior. Duke on top by 2.
You know, if everybody's going to score every time down, we're going to have a lot of points.
Yes, we are. And if we're a little slow giving you the score sometimes, they've hung some new banners here. Oh, what a shot. Holy cow, Joe Smith.
Don't be slow with that one. What a play.
Oh, it's unreal. They hung some new banners here, and they're blocking the scoreboard for us. There's the 3 by Blakeney. This might be 150, 149. Last team with the ball wins.
Well, Billy Hahn, in the role of head coach, is turning around talking to his assistants. He's got this routine down. How do you stop these guys?
Both teams have hit 7 of their first 11 shots. Simpkins, nice spin move to get in the lane, then couldn't make the bucket. Parks with a save to Langdon. Blakeney's already hit 2. Nice penetration, and that will be 2 on Joe Smith.
Called that one on Johnny Rhodes, Mike.
That's a break for Maryland as Rhodes got him before he got into Smith's body.
We talked about the things that Joe Smith can do on the offensive end. That's a great screen by Keith Booth. The pressure's there. Watch that shot. He's playing horse. Somebody just got a letter.
Yeah, he won, too. Blakeney at the line, who's been getting some more time lately. Smith against Duke. It hasn't been terribly pretty.
Duke has always had big, good players on the inside, and Joe Smith, not surprising that he struggled.
Blakeney hits them both, and Duke leads by 5.
Duke leads Maryland by 5, but you know the inside-outside game isn't all that hard to figure out. Here the ball goes in to Joe Smith, and as Capel goes down to help. This is Capel right here. The double team's on Joe Smith. Watch Dwayne Simpkins enter into this area here that I've circled. Simpkins could stand and watch if he wants to, but instead he goes to the open area and fills in the basket.
Both teams are lighting it up early. Duke leads by 5, and neither team has had a turnover through 5.5 minutes.
Mike, it has not been a pitcher's duel. This isn't exactly what you call a defensive struggle. Both teams doing about what they want to on the offensive end.
Mario Lucas in the lane. Did not get the bounce. Offensive rebound. Maryland controls. That was Bristol. Smith with a loose ball.
Oh, the left hand again.
Wouldn't go that time for him. The rebounder, Ricky Price, was in for the first time. Smith just so active and so athletic underneath. Price, good first step to get free, and he is fouled by Rhodes. That will be 2 on Johnny Rhodes. Rhodes has had foul problems around his career. Fouled out 5 times already this season.
Now, Johnny Rhodes needs to be careful. Again, they've got Joe Smith back there, but he's got to back off the ball just a little bit. He got right up against Langdon, allowed Langdon to make body contact. Langdon, therefore, Price, therefore, can spin to the basket. And so Rhodes is going to spin over to the bench.
Chris Collins is in for the first time, number 20. Parks being fronted by Lucas. Meek gets it, 3 from 15. Missed the shot, the rebound to Lucas.
Watch Cherokee Parks off the ball sometime. He works very hard, and sometimes he's open, and the guys out on the perimeter don't throw him the ball. Oh, nice pass.
Beautiful pass by Smith. The shot won't go. Hipped with a loose ball. Lucas, nice step inside. Parks with a block. Well, we're seeing some guys go after it tonight.
Lucas has to realize when he draws 2 guys, number 32 is in the middle of the lane with nobody around him. Cherokee Parks. He's already got 3 or 4 blocks that we've seen.
Hip for 3. Maryland has now missed 7 straight from the floor after that hot start, and they're down by 5. And the bad pass as Parks cut to the basket, and Blakeney tossed it by him. First turnover. And if Pete Gaudette understands more than anybody how Billy Hahn must feel tonight, as Joe Smith will get a breather shortly. Smith low, can't handle a pass from Simpkins.
You just had to mention there were no turnovers.
Yeah, it started right away. Smith tonight already more points than he had in the first meeting, than 60% of the rebound. We played 7 minutes and 20 seconds.
Again, Mike, it's a delicate balance. You want to shut off Joe Smith, but you don't want to open up too many areas for other people.
Collins. Meek bobbled it on the way in. Traveled? Yes.
I know it's an offensive foul. Offensive foul. Mike, he can't actually travel while he's bobbling the ball. He's got to have possession of the ball to travel. Of course, you don't have to have possession of the ball to have a foul called on you.
And that's 2 on Eric Meek.
And Pete Gaudette looking rather questioningly.
Well, as soon as we said there were no turnovers, we've had 3 straight, and Joe Smith will get a breather. Booth is back in. He has the ball low. Nice move with the left hand, and it spun out on him. Newton with a rebound. Blakeney ahead. Nice catch by Collins to Price. What a play by Collins.
And Eric Meek threw a pretty good block inside to get rid of Simpkins and open that hole.
Wayne Bristol answers on the other end, 22-17. Did have a little football action to it, didn't it? Nice pass by Blakeney inside, and Newton scored. Simpkins racing back down court. He can't hit the shot. Maryland has missed several from point-blank range. But Blakeney put that one about 6 rows up. We've got a timeout, 11:28 to go, first half. Duke by 7. Duke has taken a 7-point lead over Maryland, and acting head coach Billy Hahn with 11 minutes, 28 seconds to go in the half. Got to be a lot of pressure on Billy Hahn taking over for Gary Williams tonight, Dan.
And Billy Hahn is nothing if he is not intense, and he's seen his team struggle from the field here in the last 3.5 minutes. He was giving them a little motivational speech there in the huddle.
Translation, tongue lashing. Extra pass by Lucas, nearly got knocked away. Now Bristol for 3, and he got it.
Very effective 3-point shooter. Maryland now going to try a little pressure.
Matt Kovarik on the point of that defense. Parks had a 3, goes baseline instead. Booth got a piece of that one.
Boy, Booth really gets down the court.
Hip playing right now in the low post. Tipped away by Newton. Parks knocked it out of bounds. Coming up, championship week on ESPN and the Deuce. 61 games, including the SEC championship, the Big 8 championship, the Atlantic 10 championship. You'll also see the entire Atlantic Coast Conference tournament, which may be the most competitive ever, beginning Saturday at noon. Foul on Newton.
Well, you get big number 32 in there, and that draws the ball. The ball draws people, and lots of times Joe Smith draws fouls. In fact, he leads the ACC in getting to the free throw line.
More than 8 free throws a game. And it was a non-shooting foul. And we're not anywhere near the bonus. Both teams have 3 so far, so Maryland will inbound.
It's a good try to go to the free throw line, though.
Sure.
Steve Gordon wasn't buying it. He was just standing down there holding the ball.
The 3 by Bristol. Missed the second one he tried tonight. Price. In and out, but he's fouled, and that will be on Simpkins.
Mike, one of the things that we've seen in this game is thus far it has really been a transition game. That's team foul number 4. And when you're playing in transition, it's really tough to get yourself set defensively. What happened that time is Simpkins had just gotten back, wasn't really set, ready to play, and Price went right around. So when you're playing in transition, the penetration and offensive flow sometimes comes much easier, makes it much more difficult for defenders.
The numbers on Price this year, hits the free throw. 66.7%, and that's better than the team average. 65-9, which is now last in the ACC. North Carolina had been last nearly all year long.
Well, the Tar Heels go to the free throw line so much eventually the numbers had to go up with all the practice they get.
Well, they started to get a lot better, too. Simpkins pushes it up. Rhodes can't get the roll. Smith. Not only does he get the tough rebounds, he gets a lot of loose balls. He's just very quick.
And he's always around the basket.
Duke by 3. Meek tried to get it to Parks, knocks away. They'll call Booth.
That is a very tough matchup for Keith Booth. Billy Hahn indicating that in his opinion, Cherokee Parks elbowed him. But Parks with about a 4-inch height advantage there. And now he's got Booth right on his back, and Booth just not quick enough to get around in front.
Booth only 6'5", 225. Capel this year has had a tough time protecting the basketball with the 97 turnovers compared to 102 assists.
Well, of course, he's thrust into an entirely different role, Mike. He's a complementary player with some outstanding guys, most notably Grant Hill. And this year, he's thrust into the leadership role, and that is a difficult adjustment.
We've seen that an awful lot this year all around the country, and here are his numbers against ACC teams, and he certainly stepped up his game. Kids develop certain skills, some of which they're better than others as they're growing up. And then you go to college with the thought that you're going to be a shooting guard, and all at once, son, here's the basketball. You run this club. Booth, double team. Stepping inside, Parks got caught in the air. Hip saves it. Lost it on the way up. The foul on Capel.
Mike, earlier in the basketball game, we showed a replay where Dwayne Simpkins pitched it in to Joe Smith, moved, didn't stand there and watch. That time, Johnny Rhodes pitched it in to Keith Booth and stood there and watched the game. Rhodes has to go somewhere. If he's in the corner, cut to the elbow area of the lane, creates some movement, so he's a target.
Hip with a free throw, knocks it down. He played very well in the opening game in this series. 21 points and hit 5 out of 6 threes. Swishes both free throws, and the lead cut back to 3. Duke has really handled the full court pressure so far tonight. Trajan Langdon with a pull-up jumper. That's what you have to do against the press. You got to burn them.
Absolutely, and that's what you risk with the press. If you don't get that steal, somebody's going to get a good shot, and Booth, I think, walked. Yes, he did.
Booth called for the travel. Duke gets the ball back, leading by 5. Billy Hahn explaining to his bench players what he wants them to do the next time they get in. Price with a 2-on-1. Langdon wide open for 3. And those are the ones that make the difference.
And you've got to make those. If you're going to beat that press, you have to burn it.
Booth, nice save. 8 minutes, 54 seconds to go in the half. Mike Patrick, Dan Bonner with you. Glad you could join us from Duke. Hip. Tough shot. Got the bounce.
That was excellent movement without the ball by Exeter Hip. He and Joe Smith worked very well with Smith setting screens inside. To the basket. That's just good, solid basketball.
7 points for Eric Meek. Tough turnaround jump shot by Booth. Kicks out. Capel with a long 3.
Meek just got in the way of Hip. Nothing illegal about it. Billy Hahn searching for some answers now.
Biggest lead of the night for Duke, 34-26. Rhodes down low, double team. Simpkins couldn't hit the wide open jumper. Price is open in the corner. Langdon didn't see him, now gets it to him, but he's covered. Nice baseline drive. Won't go, tipped by Meek. No basket. Overruled. Eric Meek came over the top and got the personal. That is 3 on Eric Meek. A big blow against the Blue Devils. 7:15 to go in the half, and Jeff Capel's 3-pointer gives Duke its biggest lead of the night.
Duke really hitting on all cylinders offensively, leads by 8. Eric Meek battling inside against Joe Smith. Not a lot of movement by Joe Smith, but you see he tries to set the screen and gets the screen coming the other way. Meek keeps an eye on the ball and gets a block out against Mr. Smith.
And a correction on Meek's foul trouble. He has 2 instead of 3. Here's the comparison between the two. Smith with 9 points and 7 boards already. Cherokee Park's got off to a quick start, but hasn't had a bucket since.
And the Blue Devils have hardly noticed. We've played 13 minutes, Mike, and they have 34 points.
Smith with a pump fake.
Well, Meek's got 3 fouls
yes,
now.
Yes, he does. Got him up in the air. Joe Smith, you've got to respect the pump fake from him.
Smith has the inside position, and you notice Parks is not able to get over quickly enough to intercept the ball. That's a situation where Cherokee Parks should have been a step closer.
Maryland is so good at going to the free throw line, and there is the advantage they have had this year. 571 free throws made compared to 312.
And Michael, of course, that's been a big key to Duke's great run of success over the last decade. The Blue Devils not getting to the free throw line as frequently this year.
It is a far different club they have put on the floor. Duke leads by 6, a loose ball. Here comes Maryland. This is what they do so very well. Smith has the range.
Why not? Do it inside, do it outside.
The question is there anything he can't? And I don't think so. 13 for Joe Smith, 6:25 to go. There's another trap and a bad pass by Blakeney. When Carolina played here the first game and trapped Duke, they had terrible problems with it. Billy Hahn may not be quite as emotional as Gary Williams, but he's getting close. He'll do till Gary comes back, won't he?
I believe so. He's got to get Gary's cleaner though. Either that or he's got to wear disposable coats and ties over there.
Kovarik on the drive down the lane. Foul on Newton. That's his second. So Duke getting in some foul trouble with its big people. Mika's gone out with 3. Newton picks up a second.
Looking at Billy Hahn there, I think he really needs a rest. You know, like Jimmy Patsos or Art Perry has to take over for a couple of seconds. Billy's winded already.
Mika on the bench with the 2 personals, or 3, excuse me. And Newton, who has played well, the sophomore. Maryland draws to within 2. Collins gives it up to Capel.
Duke's problems, Mike, and this includes the first game when they played against Maryland, they tend to get sloppy with the ball sometimes.
Collins for 3. He has had a miserable shooting year, down to 19%. That foul will go against Mario Lucas. Collins, who had started his Duke career shooting so well, and as you see, he made 76 last year. That led the ACC, even though his percentage didn't. But he has only made 12 this year and shooting 19.7%.
Well, Mike, when you have guys like Grant Hill and Bobby Hurley to take the ball to the basket and create openings, it's a little different when you have guys running at you and guarding you more closely. Collins is a great, or can be a great standstill shooter. He hasn't really shown the ability to put the ball on the deck and go around somebody, so you run at the guy, you make it hard for him to shoot the ball.
Cherokee Parks, of course, he's done that to everybody. It gets only his 4th point here in the first half. Kovarik, who's getting more minutes for Maryland. Tough shot for Johnny Rhodes.
Johnny Rhodes at his size is very effective getting down inside, posting up the opposition guard. He was demanding the ball and finally got it and scored the easy bucket.
He's averaging 14 points a game. Parks, 15-footer. Too strong. Kovarik with a rebound. Maryland with a chance to tie or take the lead. Smith again slashing toward the bucket. Parks got a hand on it, but Maryland will come out with it. Wayne Bristol, Rhodes for 3. Bristol with another rebound. Wanted to put it up, taken away, kept by Smith. Over Parks, didn't get the roll. Look at this. Joe Smith can't get it to fall, but they can't keep it away from him either.
He got that last rebound, Mike, standing flat-footed, just moving, getting in position, putting your hands up. Now, the key to that stat, Maryland has a lot of offensive rebounds, Mike, but they haven't converted very many of them. They've gotten basically all of those in 2 flurries.
That's right. From our stats can be deceiving department. Joe Smith will go back to the line. He's in the top 10 in free throw shooting in the ACC. He's hit 1 out of 2 tonight. 13 points and 8 rebounds in the first half. Now that's 8 rebounds against Parks and Meek and Newton. You got to be kidding.
I don't think there's any kidding around with Joe Smith.
Number 2 in the ACC in scoring, number 2 in field goal percentage, number 2 in rebounding. He's 9th in free throws, and he's in the top 10 in steals. Hits both free throws. The first tie since it's been 15 all. It's now 36 apiece.
And the problem for Duke, Mike, is they haven't been able to get good shots. They came out of that last time out ahead by 8, and the first thing they did was turn it over twice, and they've never really recovered.
Got the numbers here. Langdon out to Price for 3. And when the open shots don't go, Maryland can get its transition game going. Matty Watt.
Well, Mike, one of the things that Maryland's going to do to you, that press isn't necessarily to steal the ball, but it speeds up the game. So, yeah, you're going to shoot some of those open threes, but Duke as a team in ACC competition hits only 34% of its three-point shots. So a lot of times they're going to miss, and you've got a transition game going the other way.
And when Billy Tubbs was at Oklahoma, he used to say, I don't care if they score, just as long as they shoot it fast and we get it back. 4:27 to go first half. Tied at 36. Parks, nice position inside. He's fouled by Booth. That's 2 on Booth.
That Duke inside game can create problems. Parks does a great job getting position. Lucas doesn't really battle him very hard in there. What a great step through on that pin. You just got to battle harder than that against Cherokee Parks.
Well, if you don't, it just eat you alive. Pretty good at directing traffic, too. 6 points, 5 boards.
What would you expect from somebody named Chief?
That's right. A very unselfish leader of the tribe, however. Joe Smith, after a very brief respite, back in. Still loose. You ever seen a rugby game? That is a scrum.
All we need is some mud.
Got an interesting story for you. When Gary Williams went into the hospital last night, he was watching a game on a free television channel, and then today we understand he discovered he didn't have cable and couldn't see this game. Well, they started running cable at Washington Adventist Hospital this morning, and Gary, if you're watching, hope you feel better soon.
Well, Billy Hahn is going to need some IV here pretty soon. He's going to be dehydrated.
Billy's working at it. Maryland basketball. Jesse Cavish's number 13 is in for the first time. From now on, we will refer to him by his first name as Sarunas. Foul inside. This is going to be a hold on Tony Moore, who just checked in.
It's always a horrible thing. You're sitting there on the bench and the coach says go in the game and you're really excited about it, but they send you in to guard the other guy's best player.
This sounds like experience talking.
Absolutely. You're always very excited to get in the game. However.
Rodney Elliott, who's in for the first time, gets a free throw and misses it. Parks with another rebound. The Chief has 6 in the first half.
An extra hip matched up against Jeff Capel. This just shows you the versatility of hip. He can get out there and guard somebody at the point. Now he's got a traveling violation against Price and another Duke turnover. Early they weren't turning over at all. Now they've got 6.
3:39 to go first half. Duke with a 3-point lead over Maryland. Duke by 3 with 3:39 to go first half. The ACC just loaded with interior talent this year. Joe Smith, second in the ACC in scoring, rebounding, and field goal percentage. Cherokee Parks for Duke, third in both scoring and rebounding. Over to North Carolina for Rasheed Wallace. He leads the ACC in field goal percentage. He's second in blocks. The leading shot blocker is Tim Duncan. Also leads the ACC in rebound. And Todd Fuller at NC State, second in the Atlantic Coast Conference with 12 double-doubles this year. Quite a collection, isn't it?
It is a collection unrivaled, probably. There's Jesse Cavish just banking it home.
Sarunas drains the 3. His nickname is Shooter.
Well, that's a shooter's touch right there. Often when the ball bounces around the rim, they say it's a shooter's touch, but more appropriate, I think, is when you bank one in from the top of the key.
Tied at 39. More offensive rebound. Maryland with a chance to regain the lead. Simpkins pushes it. Can't hit the shot. Loose ball, Parks. 3-on-1. Price mishandled the ball and puts it up from the right side. Terrible execution for Duke on a 3-on-1 fast break.
Mike, you shouldn't be settling for an off-balance jumper on a 3-on-1, that's for sure.
Hip gets it low to Smith. Great move to get by Parks. Just blew by him.
It was strength that got himself in that position, Mike. He used his strength to get great position, and then that explosiveness really came to the fore.
17 points for Joe Smith in the first half. Capel baseline. Parks. Tied at 41. Cherokee with 9.
Mike, and for the Blue Devils, I really think if they're going to win the game, they're going to have to shoot the ball very well.
Well, they started beautifully and then had the problems in the middle, started turning it over.
Talking about the big game that Joe Smith is having tonight. Watch Joe Smith get down in position in here. Turns Cherokee Parks now. He feels Parks going to the baseline. He sets himself up the other direction, catches the ball, and just explodes to the basket.
Well, you have to feel the first game was an anomaly for Joe Smith. 6 points and 5 rebounds. Look what he has in a half tonight. The runner by Langdon. And Smith went down hard. 9 for Trajan Langdon.
It's very, very hot in here. Joe Smith walking slowly back up the court.
Well, he's had a whole night's worth of work here in the first half.
Speaking of people who've had a whole night's worth of work in the first half.
Kovarik and Yesikavich is the backcourt now for Maryland. The lob down low for Lucas. Tries to power it up against Parks. Here's Capel. Again, an advantage for Duke on the break, and they couldn't get anything out of it. Nearly taken away by Kovarik. And a bad pass by Capel. A bounce pass that was sort of a short hop at Blakeney. 7 turnovers against the Blue Devils.
Cherokee Parks, the second all-time leading shot blocker at Duke. And he's been swatting them away tonight. 5 in the first half.
Only needs 120 to catch Mike Jaminski in the next 5-6 games. Nice give and go. Nice dish off to Smith. Leans in for one. Can't hit it.
That's great hustle by Kovarik.
But he slid the pivot, put it at the baseline. Coming up on our Delta Faucet halftime report, Chris Fowler and Digger Phelps in the studio. Who's on the bubble and what phrase can we use to replace on the bubble? ACC update and the numbers on Kurt Thomas tonight.
We've got 45 seconds left in the first half.
This has been a beauty, hasn't it?
It's really been an offensive display here. And with all the offense, you know, Cherokee Parks on the defensive end, 5 block shots. That's his season high.
Blakeney bringing it up to Price. 10-second difference on the shot clock and game clock. Excuse me, Dan.
You've had guys making plays, Mike. And that's when you have exciting basketball games, when people make plays like that.
Blocked by Joe Smith. The lob to hip. Can't quite make the catch. I think the only guy who can do that was here last year.
We talked about Cherokee Parks on the defensive end with his block shots. Joe Smith does a great job. Mike, you see how he put his hands straight up in the air? There was contact, but it was basically Cherokee Parks putting his arms into Joe Smith's space. Smith did not drop that arm, and so he gets the block.
Duke playing for the last shot. Parks for 3. Hip has it at the buzzer. Good offensive display by both ball clubs in the first half. Joe Smith just had a sensational effort with 17 points and 9 boards in the first 20 minutes. And Billy Hahn, with his chance to coach Maryland as the head coach for the first time this year, sees his club down by 2 at the half. Right now, let's check in with Chris Fowler. Chris?
Mike, thank you. Digger, we saw Cherokee Parks taking the 3 at the end of the half. You like it when they pound the ball inside.
I liked it early when Eric Meek and Park were both inside, making things happen early in the game. If they do more of that, that's going to really affect Maryland's inside game.
But Meek now with 3 fouls, and Joe Smith, as you saw, with 17 points in the first half. Coming up on our Delta Faucet halftime report, Mike Patrick, we won't call it the bubble. We'll call it teams in limbo. We'll take a good long look at teams that might be in trouble, and also an honor, a surprising honor, we might add, for a young Tar Heel. All that will be continued, plus some scores and highlights in the Delta Faucet report coming up.
ESPN's NCAA basketball, brought to you by Alpine, Power Audio and Security Systems. ES.
Back at Duke, where the Blue Devils are leading Maryland 43-41. We've talked to you about the great collection of big men in the ACC this year, so we asked Joe Smith and Cherokee Parks to analyze each other.
He's stepping out, shooting the jumper. He can take the ball off the dribble. I mean, he can take it to the hole off the dribble.
He's got a variety of moves, and you got to look to guard him out to about 17 feet, and he's always going to the board. So he's just a player, mainly you always got to have an awareness for him.
15 points, all kinds of strength inside.
And here's the comparison of what they did in the first half. Joe Smith, just an incredible first half performance. 17 points, 10 boards and a block. Cherokee not bad either. 9 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 block shots and a half.
Just all in a day's work. You know, the problem for Joe Smith and the Terps, Mike, is that nobody else is close for Maryland. The next highest scorer has 6 points.
Parks will try a baseline jumper and come up short. Hip with a long outlet pass to Smith, and he is fouled immediately by Blakeney.
Duke a little slow. Joe Smith with a laugh there. He knew he had a dunk. If he can just catch the ball and go to the basket, he's got a dunk.
That smile shows you one of the great things about that young man. He just enjoys the game so much. Doesn't wolf at other players, doesn't give you any of the hot dog stuff, just plays.
Well, I agree with you, Mike, but you would enjoy it too if you had 17 points and 10 rebounds in the first half.
The lob to him. Great defense by Blakeney to get in his way and tip the ball. Just excellent awareness. Langdon. Capel. Tough side saddle shot, got the roll.
You know, that side saddle shot off the drive, that's really Capel's shot. It looks like a tough shot, but that's one he makes consistently.
Johnny Rhodes in deep, answers from Maryland, cuts the lead back to 2.
You got to be aware of Rhodes down on the inside. The big guys have to come over and help.
Rhodes now has 6 in the game. Parks lost it on the way in. Smith, contact, blocking.
And that's an excellent call on the fast break. You know, if you're Dwayne Simpkins, you're one of the ACC's top point guards. You can certainly enhance your reputation by finding number 32 on the break.
Stats in the first half, both teams shooting over 40%. Free throws about even. Duke with an edge with 2 more 3-point field goals. The rebounding story, 4 from Maryland. And points in the paint, the Terps with an edge there.
Well, of course, Joe Smith has been such a big factor on the inside.
Smith has hit 4 of his 5 free throws tonight.
Particularly early in the half, Mike, in the first half, Duke was able to make a high percentage of its shots, and I really think that's what they have to do in this basketball game. I don't think they're going to shut off Maryland. Defensively, they've got to make the plays on the offensive end.
Tied at 45, they beat the press again, but Maryland hustles back, and Blakeney can't do anything with it. Parks.
Oh, what a move.
Shot wouldn't fall for him, and Smith with another rebound. Pretty good job by Booth. Hip tries to pass. Meek knocked it away, but Maryland retains possession.
You know, I think if Meek doesn't get his hand on that ball, it goes into about the 5th row.
Smith over Parks. Tough shot. I mean, Cherokee Parks is a tremendous interior defensive player. That's 21 points for Joe Smith.
But if Joe Smith is going to get position, and when he has position, like his teammates are going to get him the ball, he's so quick with it in there, you don't have time to drop down and help out against him.
Maryland with a 2-point lead. Meek wants the ball in deep against Smith. They'd like to pick up another foul on him. Langdon in and out. Parks had it partially blocked. Smith with another rebound.
entry hit, but 6'7" can be effective in there blocking shots.
Simpkins with a lob, and again it was Meek knocking it away. Great defense by Duke.
Joe Smith is awfully tough to guard inside. Watch how quickly he gets position here. He's going to set himself up. Watch how quickly he gets the ball once he asks for it, and then he just turns and shoots it. You can't help out against that. But I'll tell you what, that has an awful lot to do with guard play. The guard has to find the guy open like that to create that kind of an opportunity.
And Simpkins has been very, very good at it. Blakeney for three. Smith with another rebound. 13 boards already for Joe Smith to go with 21 points.
Nobody's guarding him.
Makes the three. X-Ray Hip, who's the 31% long-range shooter, puts the Terps up 50 to 45. And Duke wants to stop the burst and talk about it. 17-11 to go in the game. Maryland on top.
ESPN's Dick Vitale has learned that at UNLV, Tim Gergerich will step down as head coach. He says the pressures of coaching at Vegas are just too much. He wants to return to the NBA, so Clee Edwards will continue to take over the Rebels program. Mike, even when Dick's not working a game, he's working the phones. Back to you guys.
Billy Hahn toweling off after Maryland makes the run to go up by 5, filling in for Gary Williams, who was hospitalized with pneumonia after having a tough bout with the flu, but he's supposed to be out of the hospital by the end of the week.
And we certainly wish Gary the best, and you know why the head coach's seat is called the hot seat, because you look like Billy Hahn after coaching for a half. He's probably going to have about 4 rows on the bus all to himself.
And he's going to be about 20 pounds lighter than when he came in the building tonight.
Man-to-man for the Terps. Duke trying to create some room on the side, and they do, and Price just blows right by.
Beautiful drive by Price. He has 5.
But once again, we see that there's a sort of a chink in that Maryland armor. They're not very good one-on-one out on the basketball.
Double team on Smith. Booth gets the ball, and it knocked away by Newton. And a travel on Maryland.
Joe Smith went down hard, but I'm telling you, Mike, Joe Smith did.
Got to work on every call if you're going to be a coach at this level.
Well, that's right, but as an acting head coach, you know what happens? The referees ignore you.
Except in this game, because you have 2 acting head coaches.
Well, so they can ignore both of them.
Or pay attention to both. Here comes the pressure. Meek in the backcourt helping out.
And Rick Hartzell just let Billy Hahn know that he was paying attention to him. Don't be quiet.
Collins. He can be a tremendous streak shooter. His first 2 points of the night. Don't be surprised if the next time he touches the ball, he's got a crack at a 3.
And prior to that shot, we showed you the Blue Devils only 1 of 6 in this half, Mike. That's why they've gotten behind. They've got to be able to shoot the ball well to stay in this game.
Booth. Blocked by Price. Let's see, will Price or Meek get the foul?
No, Meek is going to get the foul.
Meek?
Foul is called. It's number 52.
Looked like Price got him on the arm.
The one who actually committed the foul, but Meek gets called for it.
And that is his 4th. So Newton is immediately up and off the bench as Keith Booth misses the free throw. And he's been so good in the last 10 games, nearly 80% from the line.
And you know, as Meek goes to the bench and Newton comes in, Meek was really an important factor in the first half, Mike, particularly on the boards.
Sure was. Been tough for Booth. Has not made a field goal. Missed his only free throw. Now he's 0 for 2 from the line and 0 for 5 from the floor. Maryland still leads by a point.
Mike, the Terrapins need production from Keith Booth. If he's going to struggle, the Terrapins are going to struggle.
Too strong, the rebound, and Newton. Duke playing with a lot of confidence tonight.
Well, there's certainly no reason for the Blue Devils to be out here playing tight.
Capel! Holy cow, what range on that one! And Duke regains the lead.
Or conservatively.
Smith isolated on Newton. A lot of contact, no whistle. Tipped in by Booth. The crowd wanted an offensive foul. Collins for three. You can see he feels it.
And I mean, they're long three.
Those should be fours. It's 55-52. Duke back on top. Booth with a runner in the lane. A foul on Newton. Pete Gaudet doesn't like it. Billy Hahn calling for goaltending, too.
Well, I think that shows you the different perspective, Mike.
Doesn't it?
Pete Gaudet thought it was a great play, and Billy Hahn thought it was a goaltend. Nobody's happy. And I guess from an official's perspective, that's about what you want.
22. Two shots. Trajan Langdon returns.
Keith Booth had an excellent game in the first meeting against these clubs as Maryland broke a 15-game losing streak to Duke.
Now you talk about this Maryland team. There we get a look at Keith Booth's numbers in the first game versus tonight. And this Maryland team has been a developing team. You know, it was just 2 years ago that they were 2-14 in the ACC, and they have really developed. But it's hard to remember sometimes, as good as they are, there are certain things that this team has not yet accomplished.
That's right.
And one of them as a group is to win here.
If they win tonight, they would have one game remaining in the regular season. They win that, they win the ACC. And right now, we've got some security people down behind with some of the Duke students behind the Maryland bench. They have been on Billy Hahn the entire night, and I believe they're trying to remove somebody.
Well, it's one of those things where if they're trying, they'll do it.
The crowd was warned not to throw things, and apparently somebody threw some ice after that warning. And somebody is going to have to listen to this one on the radio.
Despite what it says on that guy's shirt, he's not one of ours.
No, sir. Booth with another miss from the free throw line. He has really struggled offensively tonight. 0 for 4 from the line.
You know, it's usually only the producers who throw things, and during the game, they're in trouble.
I have to take that free shirt back. Wants the ball. Here's a reach-in foul on Booth as he stole it from Parks.
And one of the problems for Duke right now, they don't really have a point guard out there. Langdon out there, Collins out there, Maryland turning up the pressure.
And we haven't seen Wojciechowski at all.
Capel going to come back in the ball game. Price is going to go out. Coffins is standing in the corner asking for the ball. There's Wojciechowski right. A guy who knows how to take the ball to the basket, and that was not a very good shot, but he drew the foul because with his athleticism he's able to penetrate and put Maryland's defense at a disadvantage.
Accomplished his purpose. 10.6 assists. He's hit both from the line tonight.
You can see there he's got no turnovers tonight. That was not a particularly good free throw.
Just got the front of the rim.
It's always better to just get the front of the rim than to miss.
You wouldn't want to bet the second one strong, would you? No, it's short too. So Capel misses 2 tries. And the lead is 2. Lucas for 3. Got it.
Now, Mario Lucas has had the tendency this year to hit big three-point shots in games. And there he puts Maryland ahead. He's now got 3, but that's what he does. He comes off the bench and lights it up.
He comes off firing. See if they can get Collins a good shot at the other end. Capable of Parks backing in against Booth. Missed the shot.
That shot has to go for Duke. That was a great play to get it in there. That's a shot Parks will usually make.
Smith into the lane. Offensive foul drawn by Collins. And I'll have to wait for the replay on this one.
Well, Billy Hahn is encouraging his troops out there. Collins was back. And normally that's a charge.
3 on Smith, now a foul on Simpkins. Chris Collins isn't very emotional about this game, is he?
No, he's a fellow obviously very laid back. A lot like Billy Hahn, as a matter of fact.
I like to see that kind of emotion out of a young man who's making positive plays.
But now Billy isn't all that young. Collins takes it to the basket. Draws
And
the foul.
Johnny Rhodes will get his third. Maryland getting in some foul trouble. Smith with 3, Booth with 3, Rhodes with 3. Of course, Duke already has Eric Meek on the bench with 4. Shooter. 6 points on the night.
Well, he's played more minutes than usual tonight for longer stretches, and that's because his shot has been going in the basket.
And that's the double-edged sword. If a shooter can't get minutes, he can't get hot. If he's not hot, they won't give him minutes.
I wouldn't know about it.
Duke up by a point. Hip had to force one. Bad angle, and Newton comes out with it. Good defense by Newton and Parks. Collins.
Nobody ever stopped him, Mike. He comes spinning around there, catches the ball, just keeps going to the basket.
Chris Collins averaged 10 points a game last year. This season, he has 1 game, only 1 in double figures. Tonight, he might get number 2. Duke is back on top.
Duke by 3, and when the Duke Blue Devils have been able to penetrate the Maryland Terrapin defense, they have had success this evening, and Collins catches the ball. Nobody catches up with him. Nobody comes to help, and Collins knocks it in the basket.
And there's a young man in real danger of using up a lifetime supply of adrenaline in 1 evening.
Well, if he scores very many more baskets, he's going to injure himself.
Collins with 9 points. He's hit 3 out of 4, 2 out of 2 from the line.
And one of the things that Billy Hahn probably did in that huddle was reacquaint his teammates with number 32. Johnny Rhodes draws the foul from Collins.
Joe Smith has only had 3 shots in the second half after a great first half. And we said during the timeout, you made the point, you'd think they'd just go down and keep throwing it to him, wouldn't you? Lucas leans in, can't get it. Lucas with his own rebound. Good feed to Smith over Parks.
There's the idea. See, Mike, you could do this. All you need is a guy like Joe Smith. Guys, throw him the ball.
There aren't many of those around, though. Smith with 23. Capel with the left hand. The tip
Smith
by Parks, and Joe Smith got the foul. That's number 4 on Joe Smith. That's huge for Maryland.
And once again, it is the penetration by the Duke guards. You get past the Maryland defense, you force people to come and help, then they're out of position, and so Cherokee Parks battling inside for the rebound. Joe Smith coming over the back, but the defense had to stop the penetration.
Ball lost by Langdon. Simpkins, look at how fast he is. Capel caught up, blocked the shot. It'll be 3 on Capel. Now, officially on the scoreboard, they only have 3 fouls on Joe Smith. And I have to assume that that's correct because Billy Hahn has not gotten him out of the ballgame.
There you see Capel coming from behind, and he is not very happy about that particular call.
Simpkins, the #1 free throw shooter in the ACC, 86.1%. 7 points tonight. That was his first free throw.
Simpkins just has those intense eyes. Like, he looks like his radars are always on.
Tied at 59 with 11:43 to go in the game. Maryland regains the lead. If the Terps should lose tonight, there would be a 4-way first-place tie in the ACC. If they win tonight, they still have to play Virginia, and there could still be a 4-way tie.
The fun thing about this league, Mike, there's only one game left after tonight, and everything is still up for grabs.
Price trying to slash inside, gets it back to Langdon for 3.
Draw the defense, pitch out for the 3, Mike.
Langdon has a dozen Simpkins with the left hand puts it in. He's so quick back down court. Langdon loose ball.
Better get out of there. Oh my, what a step.
Price and a blocking foul on top of it. Simpkins gets the foul. That's his third.
Foul is on number 10, Dwayne Simpkins, his third personal foul. 7th on the team, number 22. He returns to the lineup.
Mike, in the expression by him like he's nailed to the floor. Johnny Rhodes comes out on the ball. He's not in good defensive position. It's one of those bang-bang plays on the block charge. Simpkins felt like he had pretty good position.
And that's the kind of athletic play, Dan, that we've gotten used to seeing over the years from Duke forwards and big guards.
Absolutely.
And something that has been drastically missing most of this year. Smith getting a breather with 10:39 to go.
And Mike, with Maryland down by 3, Smith on the bench, this becomes a very key series in the game for the Terrapins.
Rhodes for 3, and we're tied. Well, there are several guys on this team that can step up.
Well, Maryland is not only explosive, but they're very well balanced.
7 for Rhodes.
Their problems have really been on the defensive end tonight. They haven't been able to stop Duke consistently. Duke's been getting good looks, and for the most part, they've been going in the basket.
Price trying to back his way in. This is Collins. Tries another runner. Doesn't get that one. Here comes Rhodes.
But again, he goes right by Johnny Rhodes.
Rhodes the other way. Bad pass right into the hands of Parks. Collins ahead of the pack. Had the pull-up 3 if he wanted it.
I think that's a good decision to not take it in that situation. You don't necessarily want the up-and-down transition game with Maryland. You run when you have the opportunity.
How many shooters have you known with that kind of discipline, though? Price leans in, had it blocked. A head-to-hit. X with a slam. 8 points for X-ray hip.
So this is the stretch we talked about with Joe Smith on the bench, and all Maryland has done with their leading scorer out of score 5 in a row.
Collins against Simpkins. Tries to get it inside to Meek, and a reach in by Booth.
One of the reasons the Maryland Terrapins shoot the ball so well is that they're able to get out in transition. Look at this outlet pass, just perfect to X-ray that defense. You can shoot a high percentage of those shots.
That's 4 on Booth. The Maryland foul troubles continue to grow. Elliott, number 25, the freshman from Baltimore, will check back in. Booth has to sit down. Smith comes back in, too. Good.
Yeah, you're almost afraid to say anything. It's like a golf tournament. You have to whisper.
Meek now with 8
Only when one of the
night.
Duke guys is at the line.
Yeah. Duke well above its last in the ACC free throw average.
Mike, but the key stat there is they've been to the line 18 times.
In many games, they don't get to the line more than 5 or 6.
decision-making by Joe Smith. Didn't force that one up, try to draw the foul. He found his teammate.
Never seems to panic. Really has his wits about it. Parks, foot on the line. It's a 2. Just had a toe on the line. It's 11 for Cherokee. 70-69, Maryland by 1. 8:29 to go.
Parks' first second-half points.
Smith trying to answer it.
You gotta be kidding. Shot. You cannot be serious.
Holy cow, that's 25. Oh, that was impossible look. Parks at the other end. And he's fouled by Elliott. Oh, man, what an exchange by the big man.
We talked about these two guys, Joe Smith and Cherokee Parks, as being among the best big guys in the ACC. Watch Parks does a pretty good job pushing Smith away from the basket. There is no defense against that. And now Parks down on the other end operating against the freshman Elliott. You remember Joe Smith said he could hit the pull-up jumper? Indeed he can. And Joe Smith really looks tired to me, Mike. Parks 3 for 3.
It's just been a marvelous display by both of these guys. Parks hit this. We're tied at 72. We got 8:11 left. Parks has 14. Newton comes in. Cherokee's going to get a blow.
How can Duke be 2-12 in the ACC?
I don't know. They've come so close so many times against so many good teams. And I know one thing, nobody wants to play them in the ACC tournament. Especially since UCLA isn't in the ACC tournament. Under 8 minutes to go. Tough pass, great catch by Smith to Rhodes. Won't go. Smith tipped it in.
What hands by Joe Smith. What reaction by Joe Smith. 27 points by Joe Smith.
Capel has hit a couple of big threes tonight. Tries a runner short. And fouled on the shot. Was it Kabark? I believe it was.
There's the scorer's mentality. Again, that gliding shot down the lane is not necessarily the best of shots, but when the scorer's going to the basket, he's going to draw fouls, and Capel did that time.
Joe Smith, of course, played his final home game earlier this week, and there were signs, "Don't go, Joe," as the Maryland fans wanted him back. He became very emotional after the game. But Gary Williams said earlier this year, if somebody offers the young man $50 million, how can you say to him with a straight face, you know, you ought to come back and take a couple of more English classes?
Well, I think coaches are going to have to learn how to do that.
The thing, Brian Burwell in USA Today wrote a great story about Joe Smith, Stackhouse, and Rasheed Wallace. Now, as terrific players as they are, they're not ready to play in the NBA yet, but if the money is there, how can they resist it? We're tied. 27 to go here in Durham, North Carolina. In the first game against Duke, Maryland got very balanced scoring contributions from a lot of people. Here tonight, you see only 2 guys in double figures. Joe Smith with 27. The other guys creeping toward those double-figure averages.
Maryland is at its best when there's balance, and you can see they're just not the kind of balance that's most productive. We've had 12 ties and 13 lead changes in this game.
Parks with the pick.
The Maryland bench asking for a kicking call, but it has to be intentional to be a kick, and that ball just bounced off the leg of Cherokee Park.
Newton left alone, doesn't even look at the basket. They switch off the screen. Collins trying to drive, lost it. Saved by Langdon, and he did the only thing he could do, stay down with it. If you try to get up, it's an automatic travel. Of course, we've reached that time on ESPN, and the Deuce hits championship week with 61 games coming up. You'll see the SEC championship, the Big 8 championship, the Atlantic 10 title game, the entire ACC tournament, and it all begins Saturday at noon Eastern Time, 9 Pacific.
Mike, just a great time of the year for college basketball.
If you love hoops, it doesn't get any better at this time. Langdon with a holding foul.
Foul is on Duke's number 21.
It's 2 on Trajan Langdon.
7th on the team.
And the 7th team foul against Duke. Maryland has already committed 10. Meek comes back in, and Newton will sit down. And Hip goes to the free throw line, where he's a 65% shooter. He's at 2 out of 2 tonight, though. Has 8 points and 5 rebounds.
With his size on the inside, and given the fact that Duke is playing some little guys, the Hip inside posting up against Capel or against Langdon or against Collins may be an effective offensive option for Maryland.
And you see all the foul trouble that exists for both ball clubs.
Well, these are two teams who have really gotten after one another.
Maryland with a 2-point lead, pressure, loose ball, Hip. Can't hit the open shot. Got it back and is fouled. Oh, no, they'll call it on Hip. And is he upset? X-Ray Hip thought he had the steal. And if it had gone the other way, it would have been the 5th foul on Eric Meek.
Now, the ruling was that X-Ray Hip came over the back of Eric Meek. This is really a tough scramble under there for the ball. Cherokee Parks makes a great play to cause the miss. Then Meek has the ball, and they are tangled up there. You know, the air goes in the whistle. You're going to blow it one way or the other. I think each of those gentlemen would have been upset, but there was contact there.
Yes, there was, and that's 3 on X-Ray Hip. Meek is 3 out of 4 at the line, missed that one. The numbers on Meek, and we have Pete Gaudette against Billy Hahn, the head coaches for both ball clubs tonight, and 2 misses for Meek. If you joined us late, Gary Williams, hospitalized with pneumonia, should be out at the end of the week, and his longtime assistant Billy Hahn coaching the club tonight against interim coach Pete Gaudette. Simpkins, what a sensational shot!
Mike Duke has done a great job penetrating and scoring. Dwayne Simpkins turning the tables that time. Great, great drop.
There have been some sensational individual plays tonight. Capel left wide open as he got away from him.
And Duke continues to knock down the open shots. Capel now has 13. That was a big basket. Maryland had a 4-point lead.
Terps by 2. Rhodes. Joe Smith! Holy cow, what a tip! He came out of nowhere and has 29.
Meek went down to help out against the post-up move by Johnny Rhodes and did not block out Joe Smith.
Joe Smith has a chance tonight to get career highs in points and rebounds in the last 5-12. He has 29 points and 16 boards. Parks.
Oh, what a shot by Parks. What power on the inside. What a catch.
He has 15. They put on a show tonight. Smith got away from Parks. That time the basket counts and the foul. And that will be 5 on Eric Meek. Tough break for Duke, but what a move by Smith.
If you're Eric Meek and you've got 4 fouls, Mike, and you're going to go after the shot, you better go after it. Trying to step in. He's continuing to move. The contact occurs when Meek moves into Joe Smith. That's a good call right there, but Meek either has to get out of the way or bury him.
Standing ovation for Eric Meek, who was fouled out of his last home game on senior night. 9 points, 5 rebounds, and he doesn't leave anything in the tank. Neither does this guy. When you talk about the kind of numbers that Joe Smith has put up tonight, a lot of guys get numbers like 30 points and 20 rebounds against real lousy competition. Joe Smith is doing it against great competition. So 5 out of 6 from the line. I think it's 6 out of 7.
And now Duke, I think, really has a big offensive possession. Maryland has gradually stretched this lead out to 5.
83-78. Price again with that good first step. Made the bucket and he's fouled.
Mike, it is rare that you will see somebody abuse Johnny Rhodes like Price is doing tonight. He just goes right by him, and even though the help does come, Price showing you some really great ability. Jump stop, pivot, knock the ball in the basket. You just can't defend that unless you're going to stop him out on the perimeter.
This is what they hoped out of Ricky Price when they got him as a freshman from Carson, California. 10 points, 2 out of 3 from the line. Misses the chance for the three-point play, though.
And Duke has missed a couple of free throws in the second half. Mike Meek missed 2 a little earlier.
And they are last in the ACC as a team only shooting 65.9%. Maybe that's one of the reasons they've lost the close ones. Hip loses the ball, got it back from Parks, and then called for the foul. And that's 4 on X-ray Hip.
The Maryland bench really upset because the Terrapins simply didn't handle the ball very well, Mike. We've been talking all night about people making plays on offense. That time, the Duke Blue Devils made a defensive play, and X-ray Hip picks up the foul.
Number 31.
4 on Hip, 4 on Rhodes, 4 on Booth, 4 on Smith.
Cherokee Parks will be at the line for shooting 2.
3 on Smith, excuse me. We've had things changing around on fouls all night long. Parks, 16 points, 8 boards, and 5 out of 5 from the line. Well, you know he'd love to go out for the win. He has really suffered this year because he hasn't had the supporting cast around him that the other great Duke stars have had in the last decade. But he's such a hard worker, and there's his mom sweating out another one here at Cameron Indoor. Maryland by 1 with the ball. Smith wants it against Parks. Shot clock at 13. Simpkins lost it to Langdon. Langdon to Newton with the left hand. And not the man you want in the middle of the fast break. That's about the 4th time tonight that Duke has blown a big opportunity.
And that was just a bad decision there. You don't throw the ball to that guy, you back it out.
Smith in low against Newton. Forget it.
That time Maryland got what they wanted. The last Maryland trip, Cherokee Parks did a nice job keeping the ball away from Joe Smith. That time couldn't do it.
Joe Smith has just tied his career high 33.
Blue Devils need a bucket.
Price again got by Booth, missed the shot that time. And the rebound ripped down by Smith. 2:56 left. 85-82. Smith down the lane did a great job of not getting the foul. Offensive rebound by Maryland, and Rhodes follows.
Johnny Rhodes is as dangerous a rebounder from the guard spot as there is in this league.
Averages more than 5 rebounds a game. He's just tremendous. Joe Smith with a tremendous performance tonight. He has been on fire against Duke, and he has his club on top by 5. It is a 5-point lead for Maryland over Duke with 2:32 to go. Joe Smith, one of the men named today as a Naismith candidate for Player of the Year, along with Sean Respert, Damon Stoudemire, Corliss Williamson, and Rasheed Wallace. Sophomores who have won the Player of the Year award in the past. It's a Hall of Fame gallery there with Oscar, Alcindor, Walton, and your buddy from Virginia, Ralph Sampson.
Not a bad little nucleus to start a team.
No, and add Joe Smith to it, maybe.
Capo with the left hand. You got to be kidding me.
There have just been one sensational performance after another by players on both sides. The lead is 3, but Smith has been the most sensational of all. 34 points, a career high, 17 rebounds. That one won't go, but he'll get to the free throw line.
Gets fouled by Capel, and Joe Smith showing you that he can catch the ball 20 feet from the basket and put it on the deck and go to the hoop. For the most part, these two gentlemen have not been matched up against one another this evening.
Right.
Keith Booth has been guarding Cherokee Parks, and Joe Smith has been defended by Eric Meek or Newton. However, now Cherokee Parks drawing the assignment. Joe Smith now 7 of 8 from the free throw line and 14 of 22 from the field.
And 35 points.
Remember, Mike, early in the second half, we said he only had 3 shots. They really ought to start throwing the ball.
Must have been listening.
Well, it's just not that hard to figure out sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. 89-84, Maryland. 2 minutes to go. And this is the time that is just tortured Duke all year long. Langdon for 3. That helps. Cuts the lead to 2. Trajan Langdon with a dozen. They've been so close so many times.
They've got to do it defensively now, Mike.
Smith working hard to get position against Parks. Smith, double team Parks with a block from behind. Great defense, 7 block shots for the Chief. Holy cow, what a game. Capel. I mean, he's not even close to the three-point line. Billy Hahn wants a timeout. Capel has 16 points, and they're going crazy at camera.
And back and forth we go. Duke by 1. Maryland goes with big guy. Wants the play that Collins makes. Comes over, makes Joe Smith hesitate. Parks with the block. And then Jeff Capel on the other end. You'll see Collins open in the corner, hip right on him. The never-ending boom right there.
This is how critical this game is for Maryland. The Terps, courtesy of Wake Forest knocking off North Carolina, have gotten the lead in the ACC at 11-3. Carolina, Wake Forest, and Virginia all close behind with 4 losses. If Maryland should lose tonight, they would be with 4 losses, and we would have a 4-way tie. There's some critical games left. North Carolina State at Wake, Duke at Carolina Saturday, a game you can see on ESPN, and then Sunday, Maryland at Virginia to wrap it up. It is far from over. Capel with a huge 3.
Even though we've got only a minute and 8 seconds left in this game, it's also far from over.
Smith backing in on Parks. Double team. Parks blocked it again with the foul. It's going to be on Newton, not on Parks. Parks got the block. Newton got him with the body.
Once again, Parks' teammates come over to help him out, and that allows him to get behind Joe Smith for the block. Joe Smith wants the ball every time down now. Parks doing a great job forcing him to the baseline where he knows he's got help, and Newton gets his hand up there and fouls him.
I think Smith's been out about 2 minutes tonight in a building that is very hot. He's hit 8 out of 9 free throws, has 36 points, 17 boards. Nothing but net. Tied at 90.
Mike, in situations like this, you need guys who can make plays, and Duke has gotten in these situations earlier, and they haven't been able to make plays. The next 58 seconds will decide who makes the play.
Somebody has made a horrible mistake down the stretch virtually every time, and Joe Smith, now with 38, has given Maryland the lead back.
And here comes Maryland with some pressure.
Get it up to Newton, helping out on the press. He and Parks go for the double team on Capel. Duke has certainly improved in this facet of the game. They struggled earlier this year. Shot clock at 20. Collins, nice head fake. Then he threw it away to him. There's only a 3-second differential now as Collins goes for the steal and fouls Simpkins. And that's not the guy to foul, the best free throw shooter in the ACC and one of the best in the country. Well, you hate to see that for Collins because he's played so well tonight and then got caught up in the lane and didn't get much on the pass.
He actually slipped a little bit, Mike. You said it's very hot in here. There's some people who are really perspiring out there, and I think Pete Gaudet saw Chris Collins just slip a little bit on that pass, and that's what we're talking about. A mistake, a critical mistake by the Blue Devils.
Simpkins can make it a 3-point game, and the best free throw shooter in the conference misses the first. The lead is one. Price checks back in. Billy Hahn would have rather had a 20-point blowout, but he's going to have to coach right down to the end. Maryland, an excellent free throw shooting team this year. They need this one badly. And got it, they lead by 2. What do you do if you're Duke?
Maryland with the pressure again. Well, Mike, I don't know that you want to hold the ball for the last shot. You want to give yourself some time. Oh, my. If you're Maryland, you didn't want to foul.
Yeah.
That's 5 now on Booth. Billy Hahn, that's not what he wanted. The Duke Blue Devils, however, Mike, I think you want to take the first good shot that you get, or that was their plan, and now Billy Hahn, all depends on what Cherokee Parks does at the free throw line. Now, if he makes 2 and ties the game, Maryland can afford to hold the ball for the last shot.
And Billy Hahn calling all of his players over.
Well, he's got 30 seconds to make a substitution. Booth, 3 points and 3 rebounds. He's now fouled out.
Now, how did we get this rule in the books, where you have this much time to make a substitution? Turns into another timeout for teams.
Well, it used to be 90. You used to have 90 years ago. It's 30
Get in
now.
3 commercials.
Don't give anybody any ideas.
Cherokee Parks has made every free throw opportunity tonight, 6 out of 6.
None bigger than this, though.
Needs them both to tie. There's the first. He wants to go out a winner. His mom and his sister watching on from the stands. Parks got the shooter's roll. We're tied at 92.
Now, what Maryland wants to do, Mike, is they want to take the last shot of the game.
This game has been tied 13 times. Might be a good idea to get the ball to Joe Smith.
Well, oftentimes it's not the shot, but the follow that causes the game to be decided.
Down to 5 seconds. Simpkins has to force it up, taken away. He got it back. Joe Smith with a tip in. Joe Smith wins it at the buzzer with a tip in. A career high 40 points for the Player of the Year candidate. And if I wasn't going to vote for him before this game, I'll sure vote for him now.
Mike, you really have to feel for the Duke Blue Devils. They could not play any harder tonight. But what we talked about, it's not always the shot, it's the offensive rebound. The penetration by Simpkins. Joe Smith is there as he has been there all night. Now the shot clock is running down as Dwayne Simpkins is going to take the ball and take the basket. Watch the defense that he draws. Joe Smith standing there. Simpkins recovers the ball. Parks goes for the block. Nobody in position to block out Joe Smith. Now you're going to see the red light come on as the ball goes in the basket. Heartbreaking for Duke, but Joe Smith, he's where he's supposed to be. Break for Maryland as they recover that pass, but Joe Smith right there for the tip-in. And Billy Hahn, he hasn't worked too hard tonight, and he's not too happy with this.
Gets the win as the acting head coach in place of Gary Williams, and the 40 points tonight for Joe Smith. The most since Lenny Bias scored 41 for Maryland January 25th, 1986 against Duke. Maryland solidifies its place at the top. They are 12-3 in the ACC. With Virginia left this Sunday, they can win the regular season ACC championship for only the 3rd time in their history. And this is a picture we have seen many times before tonight of a stunned Duke crowd, the team that has come so close and can't win.